Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 16, Talks for the People. This week, Cody opened up a can of worms and added a topic called What's Your Jam? So these two jackholes have one each, and I've got 10. We also talk
There's 10 of them.
we also talk about accidentally hurting someone. Steven's got a couple of news stories. We discuss things that are OP in real life. Things are OP, you usually think about video games, but we discuss things that are OP in real life. And then we're going to go over some of our illegitimate fears in life. How y'all doing tonight?
That's not to be confused with OPP.
Yeah, you not down with OPP?
I'm down with OPP.
Yeah, you know me.
Well, I'm good. Killing it, rocking it. It was a great day today. The temperature got warmer, so I'm excited about that. Me and cold do not do well, so it's nice to finally be back in some warmer weather.
Yeah.
I'm right the opposite. It was 70 degrees today and it was fucking miserable.
Yeah, well, we're paying the price for it being 70 degrees in February because we're expected to have rain most of the day tomorrow, so.
So actually, I was, to be honest, and I don't mean to poop on our parade here, but I wasn't that excited about the episode today. And not the episode in general, just wasn't really into doing the podcast today. And then my jam came on the way home. I've been like pumped up ever since. I'm ready to rock and roll, baby. Let's go.
Let's go. Well, speaking of rock and roll, we will go ahead and jump into My Burns, My Biscuits because Alan has one this time.
Is it Guns N' Roses?
It's worse.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
And listen, this happens every year about this time. And for those that don't know, we do record on Wednesdays. Today is Wednesday, February 10th. And the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has announced their nominees for the 2021 class. And I don't know about y'all. I know y'all aren't. Cody's loves music, and I know Steven's not as passionate about music as I am. But can we agree to just take the name rock and roll off this Hall of Fame? This shit is pissing me off beyond belief every year. This is not the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. This is the Pop Music Hall of Fame. And here's what I mean. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees this year for induction include Mary J. Blige,
Not rock and roll.
Chaka Khan,
Not rock and roll.
Carole King,
Not rock and roll.
LL Cool J,
Definitely not rock and roll.
Jay-Z,
Definitely not.
Not rock. Definitely not.
Jay-Z, and Tina Turner.
Yeah.
Now there are some rock artists on there, but the fact that these people are even nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Now keep in mind, I made another list. Those are the nominees for this year. These are artists that are not currently in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Iron Maiden, Rage Against the Machine, the New York Dolls, the Guess Who, Pat Benatar, Judas Priest, Motorhead, Soundgarden, and Ozzy as a solo artist. Ozzy Osbourne is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And we are nominating Mary J. Blige, Tina Turner, and Jay-Z.
Okay, I'll have to go ahead and step in and say you pissed me off with this too. That's agitating as shit. Like that if they want to rename it Music Hall of Fame, fine. But
Absolutely.
You don't have a single rock and roll artist in there. It blows my mind. And there are still major rock and roll artists that aren't on it.
Now, like I said, there are some rock and roll nominations this year, and one of them is expected to get in, and they are well deserving, and that is the Foo Fighters. The Foo Fighters are nominated this year. But I just took this list of 6 people just to make my point. These 6 people should not even be on this list for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And here's the kicker. It's only going to get worse. It's never going to get better because who do you think votes Cody, you may know. Steven, who do you think votes on who gets into the Hall of Fame?
Other musicians?
People that are already in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So we currently have people like NWA, Janet Jackson, Beyonce is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And you think her vote's not going for her goddamn husband? And number one, I'm sad that I know that. That pisses me off too that I know that shit. But I mean, the longer these nominations go on, the worse it's gonna get. It is not it is not a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That pisses me off. Make a pop music Hall of Fame. Look, I could get very, very very not politically correct right now. But make an R&B Hall of Fame, make a rap Hall of Fame, make a pop music Hall of Fame. This is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
All right, so to be fair, just to play devil's advocate here, I'm gonna name some people that are in there that are pretty famous, and I want you to tell me if they should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson was.
I think he's more pop.
Yeah, he's more pop. He's not a rock icon. But he had some of his tracks. I could see why he would have been nominated. I appreciate Michael Jackson songs like "Beat It," "Dirty Diana." I mean, but he had some.
Okay,
he had some rock songs.
Direction. Elvis Presley.
Elvis Presley was rock and roll. Elvis Presley is what started rock and roll. That's where they told people quit shaking your hips.
But it's not what we're typically hearing on the radio, right?
I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about now rock and roll. I agree with their rule. You have to be a band for at least 25 years. I agree with that rule 100%. Some of the bands I'm going to name later on my jams do not deserve a spot in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But you have to play like the Beatles, rock and roll. They deserve to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. If you were at any point considered rock and roll, which Elvis was, you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Carole King, Jay-Z, Mary J. Blige. What rock music have they ever recorded?
I don't think ever.
I think
Jay-Z's bull crap with Linkin Park doesn't count because he turned that album into a rap album.
I think they're a victim of, like he was talking about earlier, they're just not a Hall of Fame for other people. It's just like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame just has incorporated all music.
So make
except
one
for country. I don't think there's any.
Right. I mean, okay.
They need to upgrade it to Music Hall of Fame. That way, it makes it more broad and general instead of rock and roll. Because keeping the name rock and roll and then having no rock associated with you and being nominated for it, to me, is stupid. It's trash.
Look, in 5 years, there will not be a single rock artist nominated. In 5 years, no, not a single rock artist will be nominated. I agree, 100%.
I'd go more than 5, but yeah, I'm with you on that direction for sure.
I agree. Just drop the name rock and roll, and it'll solve all my problems. This is the Music Hall of Fame, Pop Music Hall of Fame. Then you can put everybody in there that has been popular and has made an impact in the music world. I'm not a fan, but don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Jay-Z hasn't been a mogul in his area of expertise. 100% he has. I don't like him, but can I deny his credibility and his popularity? No. Same with Mary J. Blige. She's been a phenomenal singer. She's a phenomenal performer. Like, don't take me wrong. I'm not saying these are bad people. I'm saying they don't deserve to be in something called the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah, completely agree. And I'll tell you what's strange. I'm surprised that Iron Maiden's not already in there. That was a little surprising.
I about copy and pasted a clip to read to y'all that Bruce Dickinson had to say about it. At this point, they've pissed him off so much, and he said so much crap about them. I don't think they're ever going to actually get in, no matter how deserving they are.
Well, it also starting to look like, as long as you're a band for 25 years, no matter what you've accomplished, you're going to get in, or at least nominated.
Pretty much.
I
You
guess
you may have not even broke, top 50 on the charts ever with your albums. And
Now, like I
hey,
said,
you've been around for 25 years, though. Let's put
now,
you
like
in.
I said, Foo Fighters will get in this year. They will be nominated. They will be inducted. The Foo Fighters will get in this year. But the rest of it is bullcrap. All right, happier times. Well, for me, anyway. Steven, what's pissing you off this week?
I mean, this kind of falls into my too good to be true. So I'm gonna go ahead and list it under Burns. Telemarketers and false advertisement really kind of burns me up. And Alan, you were kind of partial victim of this with me. So I want to say like last year sometime, I saw an ad on Facebook for big Star Wars fan. Anyways, I saw an ad on Facebook where they were selling a Lego Millennium Falcon assembly piece, and those are typically like over 1,000 pieces of Legos, and they cost like $500. They're like
Right.
pricey as heck, especially being Legos. But I saw an ad on Facebook, and it was like, oh yeah, like 60% off, where I could get this $500 Lego thing for like $80. I'm like, freaking sold. Oh, dude, it was totally bait. There was no such thing available. So I spent that money and I had to go back and cancel it on my credit card. But it was like things like that just drive me up the wall. Like, you know, and I'm not going to get into politics, but like Facebook is blocking, all this free speech and stuff right now. Why aren't they blocking false advertisement? Like, why are they not seeing an ad and being like, that's not true. That is a link from China. Not going to put that on there. Why aren't we minimizing the ability for probably. But yeah,
It's all about the
but that's
money.
the thing. Why aren't they minimizing the ability for somebody to screw somebody out of money? And that should be reviewed. But there's just a lot of things on there that you see and you're like, wow, that'd be really cool to have. So you're like, you go buy it. And then 2 months later, you're like, I don't think this is shipped yet. So next thing you know, you got to go to your credit card company and be like, hey, this is fraudulent. Please cancel this. And then you
Right.
don't have your Millennium Falcon Lego. That burns me up.
No,
It's
I agree.
absolutely agitating.
No. And Facebook is a cesspool at this point. Y'all know, y'all may not know. I think my last post on Facebook was in 2014. I mean, like I've completely abandoned Facebook because I was just getting pissed off every time I logged in. Couldn't stand to look at it anymore.
You're not missing much anymore. Let's be honest.
It's definitely frustrating. I mean, really, the only reason that I even still have an account is to share this platform and to keep up with people
Friends.
I hadn't seen in years, and like I have a grandpa that lives up north that I hardly ever get to see him. So this is about the only way me and him communicate. It's on Facebook. So I've got to where I just keep scrolling, which is something people should learn how to do.
No.
You see something and go, I don't agree with that. You know what you do? You do this.
Right.
You just move on, scroll past it.
You don't have to put your 2 cents into every fucking thing you see.
Accurate.
But anyway, mine's short and sweet this week. It's kind of a generalized thing. What burns my biscuits is people that are just shitty human beings. And me and Steven had a nice discussion about this today on our way to lunch, and it just I don't get it. I don't understand why people act the way they do. It doesn't take a lot to be nice to people, to respect people, and treat people like they're a human being and not just an object.
Yep.
So if you're one of those people, get your head out of your ass and act like a human, and
Right.
just be nice to people. You
Yeah.
don't have to you don't have to go out of your way and be over the top, but you don't have to be a dickhead either. Just be nice to people. Treat them the way you want
Right.
to be treated.
Exactly. I try my best to live that way. If there's somebody I don't like, I can't stand, I just do my best to avoid them. But when it
Yeah.
comes to interacting with other people, you treat other people how you want to be treated. It's simple. I mean, look, karma's a bitch, and if you're an asshole, shit's gonna come back on you. You treat others how you want to be treated. The world will have a way of catching up with you, and the world will always get revenge.
I've always felt that when regarding things like that we do, the three of us do stupid and mean things to each other. We cut up, we have fun, and that's not the same thing with friends. But if you are going to tell a joke or a story that's supposed to be funny, and the punchline is you embarrassing a stranger or being rude to somebody you've never met before or something of that nature, just doing things to somebody you don't know just because you think it's funny, that is a red flag that you're a shitty human being. Like, if I tell a story about the three, we cut up and have fun all the time. So that's different than me being like, oh yeah, I tripped Cody the other day, he fell down. But if you have to tell a story like that and be like, oh yeah, this guy was walking through the mall, he was old, he had his cane, so I kicked it out from under him. That's not cool. That's not funny. It's disgusting. So
Right.
if your story has to do with not cutting up with your friends, obviously, but has to do with you belittling someone for the sake of fun, you're a shitty human being, and that's something that you should really reevaluate your life for. I will never stand by somebody who does some things like that without stepping up and being like, hey, you sir, or an asshole, we can't be friends anymore because of the way you treat other people. Not going to work around me.
I agree. Let's go ahead and this episode got off to a heavy start. Let's move on to some happier stuff. As we started the episode, Cody told you that he just wasn't feeling it this week. He's a little tired. We discussed this last night while we were playing Call of Duty together. I'm a little tired. I know Steven just got home. But sometimes music can completely change your attitude, and I that's what makes me love music in general. And Cody brought this subject up, and when he did, I went a little overboard. So we're gonna let these two gentlemen go first. Cody, what's your jam? What gets you hype?
So, like I said, I was coming home and I was like, I'm gonna man up and do the episode. It's not a big deal, but just wasn't feeling it for whatever reason. And then "Call Me the Breeze" by Leonard Skinner comes on, and
That's a good
well, let me
one.
back up. So my car's in the body shop from a wreck I had in November. So I've got this rental car, and the last few years I've been driving my car, and it's a basic model. It was my grandparents' car, basic model Chevy Impala. Cotton seats, or not cotton, but fabric seats. Just the radio. It's got a CD player, but there's no Bluetooth capabilities or anything in it. So for me to listen to music that's on my phone, I had to buy one of those cords that you hook into the auxiliary thing.
Or
Well, when you listen to music, you get these little random popping noises. It's probably because I bought a cheap cable, but so it's frustrating. Well, now that I've got this rental car for the next week or two, however long my car's in the shop, I've had Bluetooth radio again,
Nice.
and I'm enjoying the hell out of it. I just got my phone on shuffle. It's playing every song that I have on my phone, thousands of songs that's on my phone. And my jam came on today, "Call Me the Breeze." I cranked it up so loud Beethoven was telling me to turn it down. I mean, it was awesome. I felt so good. I've been really bad about coming home, being in a bad mood here in the last couple of years. And today I was in such a good mood when I got home. I was playing with the dogs. I was aggravating the wife. I didn't crack open a beer as soon as I walked in the door. Like it was it was good. And like Alan said, music is such a beautiful thing. It changes my life daily. And so my jam, which I have several, but day in and day out, if the "Calm in the Breeze" by Leonard Skinner comes on, it's a great day. I crank that shit up. I love it. It covers everything I like. It's got the blues, it's rock and roll, it's got the guitar, it's got the keyboard. I mean the piano solo. It's an
Got a
upbeat
nice
song.
upbeat tempo too.
Yep, it's got
Calm
my.
me the breeze.
It has nothing to do with my nickname being Breeze. I love that song long before I got that nickname, so I love it.
I'm not gonna lie. When you mentioned the artist, the first thing I thought of was Dale from Step Brothers. I like to envision Jesus, the lead singer Leonard Skinner, and I'm hammered drunk in the front row. So I imagined you in the front row, like.
I thought
I've been that guy. I saw Skinner.
I,
Um, well, these times version of Skinner um, at what is that casino? Casino in Philadelphia, Mississippi. The Golden Moon,
yeah, Golden
the
Moon.
Silver Star, the Silver Stars, where the arena's at. But anyway, I saw him in there, and I was lucky enough that we were front row. We was front row at the stage. We're actually like 4 rows back, but when everybody went to the stage, we happened to beat some people there was a bunch of old people on the front row that didn't leave their seats.
Move
So
it.
we like jumped them and got up by the stage. So we was front row, and I couldn't hear for 3 days. That
I
was
believe
by far the
Nice.
loudest concert I've ever been to. They crank it
Yeah.
up. But
nice.
yeah, I was that guy. I was front row guy. The, Freebird.
So
Steven.
obviously, I am not a huge music listener, but that being said, typically the times I listen to music, especially since I'm back coaching again, is anytime like before a game or before a heavy activity where I gotta get my blood pumping, just get excited about something. Fort Minor sings a song called "Remember the Name," and that song is really about. If you've never heard it, it's a fantastic song. You should check it out. It's about getting your name heard by your own power. By your own will, you can make your dream, your thing happen, and get people to remember your name. Just that's the way I've always interpreted it. It might be completely off base to what they actually wrote it as. But that one right there gets me going. So I'll like anytime before a game, I'll listen to it on repeat one for a 40-minute drive until I get to the game, and I'm like, all right, let's go. Woo!
All right. When Cody put this in our Discord, the first thing that popped into my head is what is a jam? Because I like a lot of different styles of music, all kinds of rock, punk, emo, metal. Like I like a whole bunch of genres of music, and I listen to it all day. I drive Steven crazy.
So are we
But
doing
when
the top 100 or
no,
1,000?
I've got a top 10 that I'm gonna fly through. I just want a little bit of explanation. I'm not gonna explain every song like y'all did. I'm not gonna take that much time.
He's
We
got
don't
as many
have.
songs as you had honorable mentions, Steve.
Yes.
TV.
So to me, a jam is just it hits different. It's got that powerful guitar riff that you can't sit still when this song comes on. It hits that main riff and you just start jumping, moving. You can't sit still. So I didn't even have to think about these 10. Like I didn't even start thinking about it, and I came up with these 10. This is in no particular order and in no means all inclusive. But the 10 songs that immediately popped in my head when I thought about my jams was Party with the Devil by Attila, Gasoline by I Prevail, You Only Live Once by Suicide Silence, Destroy Everything by Hatebreed. Red Razor Wrists by Upon a Burning Body.
Are
Cloud
we supposed
Connect.
to? Are we supposed to kick out and let you know whether or not we think that's a real song or not, or
No.
are these all real songs?
Which one?
What are these?
We've got Cloud Connected by In Flames, Absolute Power by Parkway Drive, The Saw is the Law by Whitechapel, Popular Monster by Falling in Reverse, and Step Up, I'm On It by a local band, Maylene and the Sons of Disaster.
I feel that was more than 10. Did you have like 20 honorable mentions?
No, that was 10 songs. But those songs, whenever those 10 songs hit, for sure, like, if there's some reason I'm only listening to the radio on like level 30, it goes up to 45. I mean, I'm bouncing around. Everybody driving beside me thinks I'm a lunatic. Like, shit hits the fan no matter where I'm at. I will start mosh dancing in the freaking mall if I hear these songs come on. Like you just want to. Oh God, I miss crowds. Cody, Steven, I need live music back. Make all this dumb virus go away.
Done. Got
Hey,
rid
I
of it.
make house calls, Alan. I can come play at your house.
Hey,
You can
let's do
mosh
it.
pit in front of me.
Let's see. You ever played a song in Trope? Let's see how low your guitars can go.
Hey, my PRS rocks, man. It can do it. Little adjustment, it'll do it.
Yeah, those songs when those hit, I will. I have to play them. I have to play them loud. I have to play them long, and it's going off. And if you're near me, you better be ready to move too, or I'm gonna move you. All right, so we'll go ahead and move on to the next segment. We're gonna get a little bit of explanation from Steven, but the title of this section is accidentally hurting someone.
Yep. This was inspired by a coworker. I'm just gonna call him J.A. But he told me a story, and it made me think, like, how if I accidentally hurt someone before, like unintentionally, just, oh my gosh, I did not realize what was going on.
So we are talking emotionally or physically.
Either way. So, and the three stories I have are emotionally, but either way, I mean, you do something and you're like, oh wow, I did not see it turning out like that. So, in his story, he goes to his kid's room and he's like, hey, you need to clean all these toys up, or I'm gonna put them in trash bags. I'm gonna throw them away. Okay, not playing with y'all. If I come back in here, your toys are on the floor. I put them in trash bags. I'm throwing them away. Okay. Okay. So he goes back in an hour later, and sure enough, toys are not picked up. So he gets a big black trash bag and he starts loading stuff in this trash bag, and he puts the garage on top of the shelf. So he puts it on top of the shelf, and about 2 or 3 days pass, and he has moved some stuff around in his garage on the shelf. So that bag's no longer there, but it's fall. So he goes out in the yard, he rakes leaves, he's raking them all in big trash bags, and he's putting them on the fire. So he's outside burning trash bags of leaves, and his kids come out and see a big trash bag on a fire, and they are panicking, like crying, bawling, upset, like, and he is confused, genuinely, like, what is going on? And then after a few seconds, it snaps. He's like, they think I'm burning their toys. So completely unintentional. Completely. He had no intention of doing that. He was going to give it back to him or whatever the deal was. But just in the moment, like a couple days had passed, he forgot about it. He was like, yeah, whatever, they can stay. But the kids remembered their toys, obviously. So when they went back to it, they saw him in the backyard with a fire pit and a big trash bag. They were like, he's burning our toys.
I have heard that that's a good thing to do at Christmas if you've got kids. Wrap a few empty boxes, and if every time they're bad during the month of December, you just toss one in the fireplace.
Accurate. So that sparked my two stories. And I think that's a fantastic idea, Alan. I think I need to start doing that. Like, hey, tone up. I'll throw this away right now.
I
But
mean,
so my first one that's a personal story is I had this buddy who just met a girl and they've gone on like 2 dates. He was like, hey, I want you to meet her. She's a great girl. I'm gonna call him JW. I won't call him by his name, but he's one of my friends from Auburn, and he wants me to meet her. So we meet at Waffle House, and at the time I'm going through a kind of, I guess you could say, a rough breakup, maybe something like that. So we're sitting down at Waffle House, just me, and then him and his new girlfriend. And I'm sitting there telling a story, like, about what happened because I was just going through it, and his new girlfriend. So I was kind of explaining what was going on and whatnot. And in the situation, I was sharing my feelings. Since it was a rough one, I was kind of frustrated. So I was going through and telling what happened. And just to clarify before I even make this statement, I never in my life have hit a woman. I never want to hit a woman. I never plan to hit a woman. I will never hit a woman. It will never happen. But in my frustration, I use the expression. So I was talking about, oh yeah, she did this, this, and this, and I said I've never wanted to hit a woman so hard in my life. And he kicks me under the table, and I'm like, what? So she goes to use the bathroom, and he leans over. He's like, dude, she just got out of a relationship where he beat the hell out of her. And I'm like, oh, what?
ah,
That's information I need to know.
yeah, that's something you give your buddy a heads up on.
Yeah, it's like, yo. So I mean, but I don't typically talk like that. I was extremely frustrated at the time. So in that particular moment, I'm sitting there thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. But that was so unintentional. It had no intention or purpose of that. But since she had been through that situation, it kind of hit her at a harder level than normal people would have just sat there and been like, yeah, well, it is what it is. So that one happened, and then something happened recently with my in-laws, and I didn't think about it at the time. So we have a big family group text message kind of thing, and in that thing, we share thoughts. We cut up, we have fun and whatnot. And one of my in-laws recently lost one of their dogs, long time. They've had that dog forever, and I mean that is sad. I will be sad when I lose one of my pups. And everybody was so sorry to hear about it. And I am one of those people that your dogs are your family. I mean
Absolutely.
that's your family. Once one of them goes, it's going to hit you hard. It needs to. Um, but anyway, so they had sent a message, kind of telling everybody, it's like, well, it's time has come and whatnot, and about a week had passed, and we had just gotten a brand new dog, and we were excited about it, and we were sharing pictures with the family here and there and whatnot, and it didn't hit me at the time, so I go looking through my phone for the group to text some of the family for it, and I send a picture of our dog, and I say, "Oh, look, such and such is our dog Hedwig. He's enjoying his bone. It's fantastic." And my wife texts me, and she's like, the group you just text was the same group, and like the very last conversation on that is the other." And I'm like, "Oh God, no, why?" So not intentional at all, and I might not have at all, but I feel like if it was the shoe was on the other foot for me, I would have been like, "Oh, why would you do that?" So that
Right.
might have been another unintentional, like, oh God, I'm so sorry, didn't mean to do that. It just happened. It wasn't shooting through my mind at the time. I was just like, oh, look at my puppy. And it's like that was something they were probably like, I don't care, go away. So, but yeah, those are my two stories, and and I'm sure people do it every day where they just start talking and they start rambling or they start doing stuff and they accidentally hurt somebody in some form or fashion. And I was curious if y'all had any or if anybody else has done it. I mean, it sucks because you feel the absolute worst, even if they're like, no, it's cool, don't worry, I'm not even, don't worry about it. You still like, I'm still sad, I'm sorry.
You got any, Cody?
I couldn't really think of any that I can remember real well. The only two I could really think of was involved family, which I'm not going to talk about,
Right.
and the other one was at work. So I'm not going to talk about that one either. But most of the time, I'm pretty aware of, and I try not to, like, I will go out of my way not to talk about something if I know that it may offend somebody, or well, not offend somebody, but might make somebody upset or something like that. I guess I try to watch what comes out of my mouth. So I I I feel like I'm pretty good at that, and I try not to make people feel, uncomfortable, or like I'm bragging about something or whatever. So I
I'd be
always
all
I always just try to act like
Right.
whoever I'm with. I try to just talk like
Okay.
them, or if that
The
makes
one,
sense.
I'd be all right if you made me uncomfortable.
Well, like if let's say somebody's having a lot of car trouble. Well, I know they're having car trouble, so I'm not gonna go in there and be like, "Man, look, man, you won't believe this rental car I got. It's fucking great." You know,
right.
I'm not gonna say anything about it. I'm just gonna, not gonna bring up cars,
Yeah,
or whatever. So I'm always thinking about that kind of stuff. So
yeah.
I don't have a lot of those because of that, unfortunately, or maybe it's fortunately.
That's
Well,
fortunately.
well, I had when this topic came up, there's only one that I could remember, and it's honestly because it hit me so hard at the time that it's always stuck with me, and I don't remember 100% of the details, so the time frame may be off. But there's this friend that I've grown up knowing pretty much literally my entire life. My parents and his parents were friends way before we were born. Like when they were teens, they grew up together. And so I'd known this guy my entire life, and we lost contact for a little while during a span of my life. And then when we got back together and hanging out again, he was in high school. He had made a new friend, and I'm the joker type. I like to make people laugh. Uh, like we discussed earlier, sometimes at the cost of other people, but they're friends.
Yeah.
They're in a friend group. We're poking fun at each other, and like I do that, and I meant it in innocent jest. I remember we were out bowling one night, and I was like, this new guy was out with us, and I had only known him a couple months, and I had just gotten comfortable, joking around with him, and my friend knew how it was. We grew up together, and this new friend, had a massive melon of a head. I'm talking, he had a he had a gigantic. He looked like a human bobblehead. Like he was.
Got an
I'm talking.
8-pound waterhead.
Yeah, it was. He was a huge head, and so we're out there and we're all cutting up. We're poking fun at each other all night. And so I'm like, well, how can I go bigger? It was one of those situations. How can I outdo the last thing that was said? So I look at him and I'm like, man, I feel sorry for your mama having to push that head out of her cooch, man. That head is massive. That had to hurt. And I noticed he didn't really laugh at it, so I read the room. My buddy didn't really laugh too much at it, so I read the room and I kind of quickly changed the subject, but still like didn't know what was going on. A few minutes later, he went to take a piss, and my friend leans over to me. He said, I believe it. He said, like, he said, I know you don't know, but last year his mom was in like a horrible car wreck where she died pretty much instantly. And he's taken it really hard. And I was like, didn't know that. Another thing I wish I would have known, that comment would have never came out of my mouth. I'm not that kind of asshole. I'm a nice, funny asshole. I like to make people laugh. I mean, I can be a dickhead, but it's never intentionally.
Yeah.
I do have one. When you get done, Alan, I do have one.
Yeah. So I mean, he came back and I pulled him aside and I was like, dude, I didn't know, and he knew what I was talking about instantly. Of course, I'm like, dude, I'll never bring that up again. I'm sorry. I said I know now that subject is off limits. are we cool? And we may not have been that night he said we were, but you hold on to that stuff for a few weeks. But
Yeah.
everything ended up being okay. He ended up being a fun friend to pick on in a fun way. This guy was, side story, this guy was super, super homophobic. So one of the fun times I had with him, us three again were shopping in Hoover when it was safe to go shopping in Hoover during Christmas time. And to put it in perspective, Comp USA was still outside the Galleria, where that right beside Sticks. So we were in the middle of Comp USA, and it was, I'm talking, packed out. I mean, packed out, and we were all looking at laptops at the display in the middle of the store. And unbeknownst to him, like my brain works like 3 steps ahead. I had slid a quarter in one of those little toy machines at the front of the store, and I got this little gold ring out of the gumball machine at the front of the store. So I wait till we're both looking at these laptops, and there's probably, like, no lie, like 30 people all around us. And I said, "Hey man," I used his name. I don't want to use his name here. I said, "Hey man," I said, "we've been friends for a really long time now, and I want you to know how much you mean to me." And then I proceeded to get down on one knee, raise the ring up, and propose to this man in the middle of Comp USA. He smacked me across the top of his head. He said, stop that right now," and ran off. And I ran back. I ran after him screaming, "But baby, don't deny our love for each other." I almost had to walk home from Hoover because we were in his car.
Nice.
What you got, Cody?
Oh, so I just thought of this one, and when I was in high school, it was my senior year, and we were playing in the sectionals golf tournament. So we got to finish in the top 2, I think, or something, or maybe 4, to get into to go to state. So we're in sectionals. It's like I said, it's my senior year, and I'm playing with the biggest dickhead in Alabama. And I mean, we're at each other the whole damn round. I'm a really, really nice guy, but if you're a smart ass, I'm gonna be a smart ass back. That's just the way I am. So we were back and forth the whole day, and we get over on hole 15 or somewhere like that, and I'm trying to ask him what he had on the last hole, where I don't write down the wrong score, and he keeps giving me the treatment. The huh. What did you have on the last hole? Huh? That goes, that we went about 3 or 4 rounds of that. Finally, I said, "Man, you're gonna have to get you some damn hearing aids or something. Like, you can't hear for shit." That dude stopped, put his fucking bag down, and was like, "You say something like that again, I'm gonna beat your ass. My sister," he said, "my sister's deaf and she can't hear. That shit ain't funny." I'm like, "Well, you can't fucking hear either." We was about to go, but I was fucking hot. I'll beat your ass with my damn bag on my back. I'm not even gonna put it down. I was hot. So apparently I offended him, but I didn't really care. So
what makes that even more gold is that he told you, and you were like, "Yeah, well, you ain't too far behind."
I'm like, "Well, yeah, you can't fucking hear either." I was hot, man.
Yeah.
All right.
I probably hurt his feelings, but I didn't care. At that point, I did not care.
All right. Moving on. Cody brought up this topic, and we'll see where it goes. I'm curious to see what he's thinking of. Cody, tell me some things that you think are OP in real life.
Oh, I forgot about this one. So I was coming to work, was it last week? Maybe. Anyway, I was coming to work, and one of these guys get behind me, and they've got these LED headlights. And of course, when I go to, we all get to work real early before dark. So these freaking headlights are so bright, I can't see. And he doesn't have his brights on. They're just
Right.
bright. And it ain't his fault. He don't know. I mean, you don't know when you're in the vehicle how bright they are, but it's not the guy's fault. It's just, what the hell is up with that? And so for people that don't game, which was me a month or two ago, so I have learned that the term OP stands for overpowered.
Yeah.
So so in game terms, like in Call of Duty, if a gun is sometimes guns are OP or certain attachments or whatever are just overpowered, and they need to bring them back a little bit. I feel like there are things in life that are OP that need drawn back a little bit, and my example would be the LED headlights. They're just too bright. It's blinding.
I've got one. The Alabama football team.
That's so agitating. That is so agitating.
Hey.
How about Tom Brady?
Tell me I'm lying.
Yeah, well, Alan, I just think after saying that, you might need to just go ahead and show.
Now look. I will say this: we don't talk a ton of sports on this show, but I agree with what Cody just said, because when Tom Brady retired, and then he came back and announced he was going to the Bucs, everybody was certain that the success he had at the New England Patriots was Bill Belichick and his team of coaches, staff. It was the program at the Patriots. And then he goes down to the Bucs, and they have a phenomenal season, and it looks like KC didn't look like they belonged on that same field.
I still stand behind it was Belichick. And I would like to explain. I would like to explain how the Bucs did the same thing the Browns did, but they weren't nearly as bad as the Browns. They went and hired look. Nobody on the right mind. What's that wide receiver's name? He couldn't get on a team to save his life. He's talented, but he had the worst attitude known to man.
Antonio Brown.
Nobody wanted him for nothing because his attitude was so poor. They picked him up. Gronk retired, and they said, you know what? We could probably sucker him back in. They made sure they had a star-studded cast around Tom Brady. If he would have gone there without Gronk, without Antonio Brown, and without the several defensive players they picked up to have a decent defense this year, he would not have been anywhere close.
Okay, but let me ask you this, and I don't know that much about the NFL, but so I'm going on teams that I have heard suck. Could the Browns have pulled that off in the same scenario? Could the Raiders have pulled that off in the same scenario?
So NFL-wise, the Buccaneers were like a middle of the pack, right? The Browns, when they went and hired all that talent, you could, out of 32 teams, the Browns were 32. They were the absolute most garbage team in the country. The Bucs weren't that bad. The Bucs were competing and making playoffs occasionally. They had, 8, 9 win seasons at times. So all they did was add a quarterback and then fill everything around him. They literally replaced the number one receiver. They replaced the tight end. They replaced 3 or 4 defensive players. In my opinion, if they didn't do any replacing and all they did was pick up Tom Brady doesn't win a Super Bowl this year.
Okay, so you think the talent that they bought, and once again, full disclosure, don't watch NFL, but you think that talent alone that they hired is what made them embarrass the hell out of Kansas City? From what I saw, I watched about 3/4 of the game. It's the only NFL game I watch all year because I like to cheer for the Vegas underdog. But for a team that made it to the Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes' O-line looked like crap. Mahomes was running for his life all night long.
So let me put it, and this, like I said, it could be because I'm a Brady hater. I hate he's a talented player, but I don't think he is all chalked out what everybody's saying. I wouldn't put him over Peyton Manning. I wouldn't put him over Drew Brees. I wouldn't put him over Patrick Mahomes. But I will say this:
Breeze.
the the Drew Brees is a boss. Anyways, the semifinals game, Tom Brady, I don't think had over 200 yards passing and had 3 interceptions. My father-in-law, he just said he won a Super Bowl.
He's a crawfish.
So in my opinion, like the only reason they made it is because they had a defense. You find any other quarterback that doesn't throw over 200 yards and throws 3 interceptions in a semifinals game, they don't make it to the Super Bowl.
Let me ask you this: last year, how many points did LSU average giving up? Points against. What was the average last year? Two years ago. No, 2 years ago.
It's like 30-35 when we had one of the best offenses. Yeah, it was like 30-35 points. We were giving up uber points.
No, when y'all won the national championship.
Yes.
Or never mind.
Per game, yeah. Ole Miss.
I was going to say defense wins games, but it doesn't apply to LSU.
Yeah, LSU had. I mean, we had a decent defense, but we were giving up a lot of points.
To be fair, the last Super Bowl that Peyton won, it was because of his defense. So.
Yeah,
I'm the same way. I don't like Brady, and it's not that I don't like Brady. I just hated the Patriots, and I actually found myself pulling for Brady in the Super Bowl, and kind of because I'm kind of like Alan. I kind of like underdogs. Like the Chiefs are on top right now, so I'm going to pull against them. But maybe that's why I'm an Auburn fan. we're always underdogs. But no, I'm not a Brady fan. I've always been a Peyton guy myself. But there's no denying that dude is just unreal, and he is the GOAT. I mean, I can't deny it anymore. I want to with every fiber of my being, but he's got 7 championships. He's played for 10. I mean,
I'll put it this way as kind of my final note. I dislike him for the same reason people dislike LeBron James. LeBron James hopped from team to team, and he had talent flown in to
play for one team.
He's played for 3.
Not Brady. No, just
no. I'm talking. But just listen to me for a second. But the reason people don't like LeBron James is because LeBron James had to get talent to win stuff. But to my point, for a long time, the Patriots were forking out great money to have players like Julian Edelman on the roster. Don't go nowhere. We're going to make it work. And Randy Moss, he surrounded himself with so much talent. If they didn't pick up nobody, he wouldn't have done nothing. For example, you're a Peyton lover, right? When Peyton came back after his injury and he was picked up by the Broncos did not have they did not have a Super Bowl team. But that first season, he played well enough to make that team good.
Peyton Manning, they did have the defense. All them guys was there already.
Yes.
Von Miller was there.
But a defense alone won't do it. Peyton Manning, in my opinion, stepped them up to be the team that they could have been. Tom Brady.
I'm going to disagree with the Brady with the guys because he's always had – like Edelman wasn't anybody. Brady made him somebody. And Moss was over there one season, and that's when they went undefeated and got beat by the Giants. Yes. I love that game. That was great. But so he has always had like these. Well, him and Peyton both were famous for this. They would take lesser talent and make them really good. Think how good both of them would have been if they'd have had a Moss on their team for 10 years, or I don't know, an Eddie George or whatever. These great players from over the years,
like a Gronkowski that followed you every step of the way, right? I agree. It'd be nice if he would have had one every year.
I got one more question, and we can end this segment.
And I'll say this: like you laughed at me when I say, you got me on a train here. You laughed at me when I said Drew Brees, but Drew Brees will literally have players like Darren Sproles, and then the Saints traded him away after like 3 seasons. They had guys like Jimmy Graham, and then traded him away after like 3 seasons. So Drew Brees literally turns over different guys every year.
You're such a homer.
Gronkowski
You're such a
Look.
homer.
loves Tom Brady.
Look,
You're such
let me
a
ask you.
homer.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. And I'll even give you half of a compliment in the process of asking you this.
Okay.
Are you more mad that Tom Brady won,
Over
or that he made two former, arguably outstanding LSU players look stupid?
Well, I think I mean we had 3 LSU players who won it.
Yeah.
Hey,
But the
I
Sugar
wanna-
Beaver and Fournette.
No, Fournette's with the Bucks. Fournette's a winner.
Okay. Well, the Sugar Beaver looked
Yeah.
stupid. So.
He did. He apparently did.
No, the Edward Zelaire is playing for the
Yes.
Chiefs. Yeah.
Edwards Alaire is playing for the Chiefs, so he made Edwards Alaire, and
I do have to bring this up, and then we'll move on. I don't know how we got on this tangent of football.
Alan's fault. He thought I think it would be OP, and he said Alabama.
There were two, believe it or not, there were 2 Auburn defensive backs starting for the Bucks in that game, and it was so funny because the defense played great the whole night. Me and my dad were watching the Super Bowl, and I was like, Dad, that's 2 Auburn guys there. You had Whitehead and I can't remember the other guy's name. But anyway, and he's like, oh man. And then like 2 plays later, they threw this really deep ball. It was incomplete, but the guy was wide open. I mean, it was a busted cover. He said, oh, I recognize him now. He's like, I see it now. I was like, yeah, there they are.
All right, we'll go ahead and get off the football talk. Final topic of the night is illegitimate fears. What are you scared of that there is absolutely no reason to be scared of?
So I brought this up because when I was a kid, this is kind of my first one. I have 2. And it's weird. Dark bathrooms. I know I shouldn't be, but when I was a kid, my parents were watching a horror movie. They were watching Candyman, and they told me to go to bed, and I was like, "No, I'm watching this." I didn't tell them that. I snuck back down to watch it, like behind the couch, like. And the very opening scene of the movie is this little kid is walking through a bathroom. The lights are flickering. He sees a couple of bees flying around. He goes in the bathroom stall and cuts his wiener off. I was like, oh God, no! I panicked. I was a kid and I just saw it. And I was like, oh God, what just happened? It freaked me out. So
are you more scared of the bathroom or getting your wiener chopped off?
both. But my illegitimate fear is a dark bathroom with flickering lights. If I go in a public bathroom and it's kind of shady and the lights are flickering, I will hold it. Not going in that thing. Won't do it. Nope. It's weird.
I've got a similar one. To this day, if I walk in somebody's bathroom that is not my own, and you have your shower curtain closed, I'm gonna find out what kind of shampoo you use because I'm peeling back the shower curtain. Look, one of my favorite classic horror movies is Psycho. I'm going to check behind the shower curtain when I walk in there if it's closed.
I hear you on that one. So my second one, and I think I'm pretty, if I recall correctly, it was in the movie Black Swan. So the girl was dreaming, and in the dream she was standing in front of a mirror and she had a hangnail, and she went to pull it and pull it and pull it, and she pulled it all the way down to like her elbow.
Ow!
That terrifies me. So you will rarely see me.
That hurts.
I will take fingernail clippers and I will clip off my hangnails. I won't pull them because I don't want to pull my hangnail all the way down to my elbow. It freaks me out. It makes me see. Look, y'all, your face coat.
Yeah, that's brutal.
It makes my skin crawl.
That's brutal.
So those are definitely illegitimate. Like I would like to say. Obviously, I don't because it's a fear, but I would like to say I know for a fact that's impossible. But I'm not going to try it. I'm not going to test it just in case it does happen. Who knows? I might pull it all the way down my armpit. It hurt even worse.
No, it's
Right?
that's yeah.
That's cringy. Am I right?
It's very bad. The one that I used to have, and y'all are gonna laugh at me because it's embarrassing, but there was when I was a little kid, like 5 or 6, there was a lady at church that I swear it was a wig. I mean, it was big hair and like one of those funky church lady colors, you know, and like I always thought it was a wig. And then one night, I still remember this to this day. I remember this dream clear as day. I wake up, so it's kind of like Inception-y. I wake up, I go out of my room, I notice the only light in the house that's on is the lamp in the living room, and there's just a cardboard box sitting in the middle of the living room. And so I'm a curious 6-year-old kid. What are you going to go do? You go look in the box. So I go look in the box. And then, do you remember the scene from Harry Potter where the book started like the book was like it was the church lady's wig. It jumped out of the box and chased me around the house. And for the next few years, I was terrified of wigs. I didn't want to be around a wig. I couldn't look at a wig. I thought these things were going to attack me. I did not like wigs. I had a very irrational and illegitimate fear of wigs that they were going to hurt me.
I can't do clowns. Like, I'm not scared of clowns, but I get extremely uncomfortable around a clown.
The happy clowns or scary clowns or any clowns?
Any clown.
Hello, Georgie.
It's just and I enjoy those. I enjoy the It movies though. Those are good.
What about
But
Captain Spaulding?
Captain Spaulding. I don't know.
House
Come
of
get
a
you
Thousand-
some fried chicken.
House of a Thousand Corpses?
Yes. Captain Spaulding's a national hero.
But I guess
Yeah, he's never seen that? That's almost un-American.
I'm not scared of the dark, but I get I guess I've seen so many horror movies and stuff that when I take my garbage to the road on Monday nights, I'm uncomfortable
You carry?
because I'm like, I'm constantly like looking, make sure there's nobody, like there's not a silhouette behind the tree,
Right.
or something down the street like Michael Myers standing, staring at me. I swear to God, if somebody wants to play a prank on me, that would be the greatest one ever. Is to like go stand on Monday nights, between 9 and 10 when I try to lay down. If you between 9 and 10, if you go stand on my street, like down the road, and just be really still and face like my house, that will scare the fucking shit out of me when I try to when I take the garbage out. But also know that I may shoot you.
Well, I'll say this: I was raised in a 2-story house, and if I was ever like, it was a weekend and I was staying up late, and I was the last one downstairs, so I had to shut off all the lights. Dude, when I tell you that I would shut that light off, and I am all fours up the stairs, trying to make sure I don't get snagged into the dark when I turn those last lights off. I did it every time growing up until I was probably like 14.
Hey, real quick. This is funny. So a few years ago, we've laid down. We're going to sleep, and I'm kind of in that. I'm in that. I'm not asleep yet, but I'm not awake. Like I'm kind of in that middle zone where you're not really, you're not sure what's going on.
The in
Well, I
between.
hear, huh?
The in between.
Yeah. So I hear someone scream, and I'm like, so it kind of stirs me, and then I hear it again, and I sit straight up in the bed. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? There was somebody in my front yard screaming for help.
What?
And I'm like, fuck you, I'm not helping. So I go to the next bedroom that faces the front yard, and I'm like peeking through the blinds, trying to see if I can see what's going on outside. My dogs are like ready to kill somebody, and that scared the ever living crap out of me. Like, I got a feeling that if somebody ever breaks into my house, I like to think that I'm going to shoot them and we'll be done with it. But I got a feeling I may have a heart attack when I hear somebody in the house. I'm gonna be like, oh shit. I'll be dead.
Nice.
Just take it all.
All
Get
right.
out of my house.
I think it is about time to start wrapping it up this week. We wanted to remind y'all that starting next week, we are going to start our bad movie reviews. We said it was going to be this week, but we didn't take into account that we record midweek and that y'all don't watch it until Saturday or later, Sunday or later. So the movie we're watching this week, if you want to watch it along with us and know what we're talking about, the movie we're watching this week is The Babysitter on Netflix. There is a part 2 now called The Babysitter Killer Queen. We're watching the first one, The Babysitter. We also want to thank Renegade Gamer for suggesting Sharknado. That one should be a fun, good watch as well. And reminder, if there's any horrible, trashy, just ridiculous movie that you want us to watch, leave it in the comments down below. We will add it to our list. We've got a short list going so that we can make this a regular segment, and we're looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing where it goes and what kind of crappy movies y'all can make us sit through. I'm trying to convince these two down here to watch Human Centipede. I want their takes on the Human Centipede, so I need.
Yeah, that might be our second one.
Come on, comments down below. Just spam. Look, if you've never commented on a video before, just type in Human Centipede and hit enter. Show these people that you want to make them watch Human Centipede. Y'all got anything else to say before we call it a night?
Guys, thank y'all so much for watching. We enjoy this, and obviously a couple of times tonight we got off the rails, but this is why we do it, because we start talking about stuff, we get a little fiery, and getting off the rails, it's just too good. So thank y'all so much. Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. Check y'all out next week.
Yep, same here. Thanks everybody for watching, and let us know what your jam is, and like it's a movie for us to watch, and whatever else we talked about. Just comment. We want to see more comments. We're only seeing the same, like Alan said last week. We're only seeing the same people comment. So get on there and comment. You're watching. We know you are because we see the numbers. So we'll leave a comment.
All right, everybody. Until next week. Peace out.